Emma Thompson stared at her phone screen, the glow illuminating her tear-streaked face in the dim light of her Brooklyn apartment. It was 2 a.m., and the city that never sleeps felt mocking in its silence. The message from an unknown number had popped up like a grenade, a blurry photo of her fiancé, Mark, tangled in bedsheets with some redhead at what looked like a cheap motel. "Thought you should know," the text read. No name, no context, just destruction. Her hands trembled as she scrolled through their shared iCloud photos, piecing together the timeline. Mark's late nights at the office in Manhattan, the sudden business trips to Chicago. It all clicked into place like a puzzle she wished she'd never solved. They'd been together 5 years, engaged for 1. Wedding invitations were already printed, deposits paid on a venue in the Hamptons. Now it was all ash. By morning, Emma had packed his things into black trash bags and left them by the door. When Mark stumbled in, reeking of stale cologne and excuses, she didn't scream. She just handed him a bag and said, "Get out." He tried the usual, "It was a mistake. I love you. We can fix this," but her heart had already iced over. She changed the locks that afternoon and called in sick to her job at Apex Marketing, a mid-sized firm in Midtown where she handled social media campaigns for tech startups. The next few days blurred into a haze of Ben and Jerry's, bad rom-coms, and supportive texts from her best friend, Lena. "You deserve better, Em," Lena had said over FaceTime. "Screw him. Let's go out this weekend and remind you you're a goddess." Emma laughed for the first time in days. Lena was right. She was 28, smart, with a killer portfolio and legs that turned heads in her favorite little black dress. Why wallow? Saturday night arrived with the promise of reinvention. Lena dragged her to the annual New York Marketing Association Gala at the Plaza Hotel, a swanky affair with open bars, live jazz, and enough networking to launch careers. Emma hadn't planned on going. Mark was supposed to be her +1. But screw that. She slipped into a sleek emerald gown that hugged her curves, her dark hair cascading in waves, and makeup that screamed confidence even if her insides churned. The ballroom was a sea of suits and sequins, crystal chandeliers casting a warm glow over clusters of industry bigwigs. Emma sipped a gin and tonic, scanning the room while Lena chatted up a potential client. That's when she saw him, Mark, arm in arm with a redhead from the photo. They were laughing, clinking glasses like nothing had happened. The redhead, tall, leggy, with a smug smile, leaned into him possessively. Emma's stomach twisted. How dare he bring her here, to their world? Rage bubbled up, hot and unfiltered. She needed to hit back, to show him she wasn't broken. Her eyes darted around, landing on a tall stranger by the bar. He was striking, blonde hair swept back, sharp jawline, broad shoulders filling out a navy tux like it was tailored by gods. He looked mid-30s, with an easy smile as he chatted with a group, but his eyes caught hers across the room. There was a spark, a momentary lock that made her pulse quicken. Without thinking, Emma strode over, her heels clicking purposefully on the marble floor. "Hey," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "This might sound crazy, but I need a favor. My ex is here with his new fling, and I want to make him regret it. Kiss me." The stranger's eyebrows shot up, a mix of surprise and amusement flickering in his blue eyes. He glanced over her shoulder, spotting Mark, then back to her. "Bold move," he said with a low chuckle, his voice carrying a faint trace of a southern drawl. "Maybe Texas? But who am I to deny a lady in distress?" He set down his drink, stepped closer, and cupped her face gently. The kiss started tentative, a brush of lips for show. But then something shifted. His hand slid to the small of her back, pulling her in, and Emma responded, her fingers gripping his lapel. The world faded, the jazz band, the murmurs, even Mark's gaping stare from across the room. It was electric, passionate, the kind of kiss that belonged in movies, not real life. She felt alive, desired, powerful. When they pulled apart, breathless, the stranger grinned. "That oughta do it. I'm Alex, by the way." "Emma," she replied, her cheeks flushing. Lena was nearby, wide-eyed and thumbs-upping furiously. Mark looked like he'd been punched, the redhead whispering furiously in his ear. They exchanged numbers that night, flirting over champagne as the gala wound down. Alex was charming, funny, with stories of climbing the corporate ladder in tech marketing. He mentioned a new role starting Monday but kept it vague. Emma didn't pry, She was too buzzed on the revenge high. Monday morning hit like a freight train. Emma arrived at Apex Marketing early, determined to bury herself in work. The office buzzed with news of a shakeup. The old CEO had retired abruptly, and a new one was taking over. At the all-hands meeting in the conference room, her boss introduced the newcomer. "Ladies and gentlemen, meet our new CEO, Alexander Hale." Emma's heart stopped. There, at the front, in a crisp suit, was the stranger from the gala. Alex. Her new boss. The man she'd kissed in front of everyone. He scanned the room, his eyes landing on her. A flicker of recognition, then a subtle wink. "Looking forward to working with all of you," he said smoothly. Emma sank into her chair, her mind racing. What had she done? The conference room at Apex Marketing felt smaller than usual that Monday morning. Glass walls, sleek white tables, and a wall of windows overlooking midtown Manhattan skyscrapers usually inspired Emma. Today they just trapped her. She sat near the back, clutching her notebook like a shield, while the rest of the team filed in, buzzing with curiosity about the new CEO. Alexander Hale, Alex, stood at the front, relaxed and commanding. He wore a charcoal suit that fit him perfectly, sleeves rolled up just enough to show a silver watch and strong forearms. His blonde hair caught the morning light, and that same easy smile from the gala now greeted the room. He looked every bit the visionary leader the board had hyped. Former VP at a Silicon Valley firm, known for turning around struggling campaigns with bold, data-driven creativity. "Good morning, everyone," Alex began, voice warm but authoritative. "I know change can be unsettling, but I'm excited to be here. Apex has incredible talent. I've already seen some of your work. We're going to build on that foundation and push boundaries." His eyes swept the room, pausing, deliberately, on Emma. She felt heat crawl up her neck. Did he just wink again? Subtle, but unmistakable. She dropped her gaze to her notes, scribbling nonsense to avoid looking up. After the meeting, the team dispersed, but HR had scheduled one-on-ones with the new leadership for key staff. Emma's name was on the list for 11 a.m. Of course it was. She arrived early, smoothing her navy blazer and black pencil skirt, hair pulled into a low bun. Professional. Untouchable. She knocked once and stepped in. Alex's temporary office was still sparse, a desk, 2 chairs, a laptop, and a view that made her dizzy. He stood when she entered, gesturing to the seat across from him. "Emma Thompson," he said, extending a hand. "Have a seat." She shook it, firm, warm, and sat, crossing her legs tightly. "Mr. Hale." "Alex is fine." He leaned back, studying her with amusement. "So, small world. You could say that." She kept her tone even. "I didn't realize the stranger from the gala was about to become my boss." "Neither did I." He chuckled softly. "But I'm not complaining about the weekend's highlight." Emma's cheeks burned. That was a one-time thing. Impulse. Revenge. Not exactly office-appropriate. "Agreed." He nodded, serious now. "Which is why we're going to pretend it never happened. Professionally speaking." Relief washed over her, mixed with a strange pang of disappointment. "Good. Because I love this job, and I don't want any awkwardness." "Neither do I." He tapped a folder on the desk, her performance reviews, social media metrics, campaign wins. "You're one of the best we have here. Your Instagram strategy for the fintech client last quarter increased engagement by 47%. That's the kind of creativity I want to amplify, not complicate." She relaxed a fraction. "Thank you. But I do have a request." He leaned forward. "I'm putting together a small cross-functional team for a high-profile pitch next month, a luxury travel brand relaunch. I'd like you to lead the creative side." Emma blinked. "Me? Led? You've got the vision. And honestly," he smiled, softer this time, "I trust your instincts, even if they occasionally lead to kissing strangers in ballrooms." She laughed despite herself, a short, surprised sound. "Low blow. Consider it motivation." He stood, signaling the meeting's end. "Team kickoff is Wednesday. Bring your A-game." As she walked out, the hallway felt brighter. Maybe this could work. Professional boundaries. Mutual respect. No drama. The rest of the week flew by in a whirlwind of brainstorming sessions, mood boards, and late-night Slack threads. Alex was everything the rumors promised: decisive, insightful, encouraging. He listened when Emma spoke, challenged ideas without dismissing them, and somehow made everyone feel like they were part of something bigger. By Friday, the new team was gelling. They gathered in one of the glass-walled meeting rooms after hours, pizza boxes scattered across the table. Emma stood at the whiteboard, marker in hand, sketching out a campaign arc. We lean into escapism, real, unfiltered moments. Not staged perfection. User-generated content mixed with cinematic shorts. Alex watched from the head of the table, arms crossed, nodding. I like it. Risky, but authentic. That's what the brand needs. Their eyes met across the room. For a second, the gala flashed between them. That kiss, the heat, the way his hand had felt on her back. Then he looked away, clearing his throat. Great work tonight, team, he said. Let's call it. See you Monday. As people packed up, Emma lingered to erase the board. Alex stayed too, gathering his notes slowly. You were on fire in there, he said quietly. Thanks. She capped the marker. You're not bad yourself. For a stranger. He stepped closer, just enough to lower his voice. About that. I meant what I said. Professional boundaries. But if we're going to work this closely, maybe we should clear the air completely. Emma turned to face him fully. He was close now, close enough to smell his cologne, something woodsy and clean. Meaning I haven't stopped thinking about that kiss. His voice dropped. And I don't think you have either. Her breath caught. Alex. I'm not asking for anything, he continued quickly. Just honesty. If it's a problem, say so. We can reassign you to another team. No hard feelings. She searched his face, open, earnest, a little vulnerable. Not the CEO. Just the man from the bar. It's not a problem, she said finally. Not yet. But we have to be careful. Really careful. He nodded once. Careful it is. They stood there a moment longer, the city lights twinkling outside like distant stars. Then he stepped back, giving her space. Good night, Emma. Good night, Alex. She walked to the elevator with her heart pounding. The kiss might have been pretend at first. But whatever was happening now felt dangerously real. And in the cutthroat world of New York marketing, real could be the most dangerous thing of all. The weeks following the team kickoff turned into a pressure cooker of creativity and caffeine. The luxury travel brand, Elysian Escapes, was a dream client. High-end, experiential, targeting affluent millennials who wanted transformative vacations, not just Instagram backdrops. The pitch was scheduled for mid-February, giving the team just over a month to nail it. Emma threw herself into the work. It was the perfect distraction from the lingering electricity between her and Alex. They kept it strictly professional in meetings, sharp feedback, clear directives, no lingering glances. But after hours, when the office emptied, the boundaries frayed. One Tuesday night around 10 p.m., the floor was quiet except for the hum of the HVAC and the distant honk of taxis on 6th Avenue. Emma was alone in the creative suite, tweaking a mood board on her dual monitors. Golden hour beaches in Bali, rugged mountain hikes in Patagonia, candlelit dinners in Santorini, all woven together with raw, emotional copy. Where the land ends, your story begins. The door opened softly. Alex stepped in, jacket off, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up. He carried 2 takeout coffees from the 24-hour spot downstairs. Still here? He asked, setting one beside her. Finishing the deck. You. Same. He pulled up a chair, not too close, but close enough. Show me what you've got. She walked him through it. He listened intently, nodding, asking pointed questions that made her refine on the spot. When she finished, he leaned back. This is brilliant, Emma. It's not just pretty, it feels real. Human. Thanks. She met his eyes. Coming from you, that means something. A beat of silence stretched. The city lights glittered behind them, casting soft shadows across his face. You know, he said quietly, I almost reassigned you after that first week. Thought it would be safer. Why didn't you? Because I'm selfish. He gave a half-smile. And because you're the best person for this. And maybe, because I like working with you. A lot. Her pulse quickened. Alex, we said, careful. I know. He rubbed the back of his neck. I'm trying. But being around you every day, seeing how your mind works, how you light up when an idea clicks, it's hard to pretend there's nothing here. Emma looked down at her coffee, steam curling between them. There is something. I feel it too. But you're my boss. If this goes wrong, it could tank both our careers, he finished. I get it. HR policies are crystal clear. No relationships between superiors and direct reports. Period. So what do we do? He exhaled. We keep doing what we're doing. Crush this pitch. Stay professional. And when the campaign launches, we reassess. If we still feel this way, we figure out a way to make it work. Transfers, disclosures, whatever it takes. She searched his face. You'd risk that. For the right person. Yeah. His voice softened. And you might be the right person. The words hung in the air, heavy and thrilling. Emma felt the pull, magnetic and undeniable. She stood, needing distance, but he rose too. They were inches apart now. I should go, she whispered. Yeah, he agreed, but neither moved. Then, slowly, he reached out, tucking a stray strand of hair behind her ear. His fingers lingered on her cheek. Her breath hitched. Tell me to stop, he murmured. She didn't. Instead, she closed the gap, pressing her lips to his in a kiss that had been building since the gala. It was softer than the first, tentative at first, then deepening with weeks of restraint unraveling. His hands found her waist, pulling her closer, hers slid up his chest, feeling the steady thump of his heart. When they broke apart, foreheads touching, both breathing hard. This is dangerous, she said. I know. But I don't want to stop. Me neither. They stayed like that a moment, wrapped in the quiet office, the city alive beyond the glass. Then reality crept back. Emma stepped away, smoothing her blouse. We can't do this here. Not like this. You're right. He nodded, running a hand through his hair. Let's focus on the pitch. After that, we talk. Really talk. Okay. She grabbed her bag. Good night, Alex. Good night, Emma. She rode the elevator down alone, lips still tingling, mind racing. The kiss in the ballroom had been for show. This one was private, reckless, and terrifyingly real. The next day, the team presented the first round of concepts to the client via Zoom. Elysian loved it, called it fresh and emotional. They greenlit the full pitch development, extending the timeline slightly for polish. As the call ended, the team erupted in cheers. High fives, hugs, someone popped a bottle of sparkling water like champagne. Alex caught Emma's eye across the room. A small, secret smile passed between them, promise and caution intertwined. They were playing with fire now. But for the first time in months, Emma didn't feel burned. She felt alive. And as the team celebrated, she wondered how long they could keep the flames contained before everything ignited. February arrived with a bitter cold snap, blanketing Manhattan in gray slush and turning every subway platform into a wind tunnel. Inside Apex Marketing, however, the atmosphere was feverish. The Elysian Escapes pitch was locked in for February 20th, a live presentation at the client's sleek Soho headquarters. The team worked around the clock, mood boards evolved into full decks, scripts were rehearsed until voices cracked, and visuals were polished to cinematic perfection. Emma and Alex maintained their fragile agreement. No more stolen kisses in the office. No late-night confessions. Just work, intense, collaborative, brilliant work. But the tension simmered beneath every interaction. A brush of hands passing a tablet. A shared look during a brainstorm that lasted a second too long. The team noticed nothing. They were too buried in deliverables. But Emma felt it like static electricity. The night before the pitch, the team pulled an all-nighter in the main conference room. Pizza boxes piled up, energy drinks flowed, and laughter echoed off the glass walls as they ran through the presentation one final time. At 2 a.m., Alex called a break. Most of the team wandered off to nap on couches or grab fresh air. Emma stayed, tweaking the final slide transitions on the big screen. Alex lingered too, pretending to review notes. "You nervous?" he asked quietly, coming to stand beside her. "Terrified," she admitted. "This is the biggest thing I've led." "You've got this." He spoke low, close enough that she could feel his warmth. "We've got this." She turned to him. The room was dim, lit only by the glow of screens and the city lights outside. No one else around. "Alex." He didn't wait for more. He cupped her face and kissed her, slow, deliberate, full of everything they'd been holding back. She melted into it, hands fisting in his shirt, the weeks of restraint shattering in an instant. When they parted, both breathing ragged, he rested his forehead against hers. "I couldn't wait any more," he murmured. "Not tonight." "Me neither," she whispered. They didn't speak again. They just held each other for a long moment, the hum of the city their only soundtrack. Then, reluctantly, they separated as footsteps approached, Lena returning with coffee. The next morning, the team arrived sharp and polished. Emma wore a tailored black blazer dress that made her feel invincible. Alex looked every inch the CEO in a deep navy suit. The pitch went flawlessly. Emma commanded the room, her voice steady, passion pouring through every word about authentic escape and human connection. The Elysian executives leaned forward, nodded, smiled. When the final slide faded, golden sunset over Santorini with the tagline, "Find where you begin again," the room erupted in applause. They won the account. Six-figure retainer, multi-year commitment, agency of record. Back at Apex, the celebration was immediate. Champagne popped, music blasted from someone's phone, and the team danced in the bullpen like they'd won the Super Bowl. High fives turned into hugs. Someone started a conga line. Emma stood near the windows, glass in hand, watching the chaos with a grin. Alex appeared beside her, clinking his flute against hers. "To the best creative director in New York," he said softly. "To the boss who trusted her instincts," she replied. Their eyes locked. The room faded. Later, as the party wound down and people trickled out, Alex caught her wrist gently. "Meet me on the roof in 10, he said. "We need to talk." Emma's stomach flipped. She nodded. The rooftop terrace was quiet, a hidden oasis above Midtown with string lights and heaters. The city sprawled below like a glittering sea. Alex waited near the railing, coat off despite the cold. She approached slowly. "We did it," she said. "We did." He turned to face her fully. "And now, we have to decide what happens next." Emma took a breath. "I want this. But not if it means sneaking around or risking everything." "I don't want that either." He stepped closer. "I talked to HR this afternoon. Off the record for now. If we disclose the relationship properly, after the pitch success settles, they can reassign reporting lines. You report to the CMO instead of me. It's clean. Compliant. You already looked into it. I had to know our options." His expression softened. "I don't want to lose you professionally. Or personally." Emma felt tears prick her eyes, not from sadness, but relief. "So we can try. For real. If you want to." He reached for her hand. "No more pretending. Dates. Weekends. All of it. Out in the open, when we're ready." She smiled, wide and genuine. "I want that." He pulled her into his arms, kissing her under the string lights with the city as witness. No rush. No secrets. Just the beginning. As they stood there, wrapped together against the February chill, Emma realized something profound. The kiss at the gala had been revenge. The ones that followed had been temptation. But this felt like possibility. And for the first time since Mark shattered her world, Emma believed in happy endings again. Spring came early to New York that year, the kind of mild March that made the city feel forgiving. Cherry blossoms bloomed ahead of schedule in Central Park, and the Elysian Escapes campaign launched with a splash. Billboards in Times Square, sponsored Instagram reels racking up millions of views, and a glossy feature in Condé Nast Traveler calling it the most authentic luxury campaign in years. With the success came structure. True to his word, Alex worked with HR and the CMO to adjust reporting lines. Emma now reported directly to Sarah Chen, the chief marketing officer, while Alex oversaw the broader agency strategy. It was clean, documented, and drama-free. The office gossip mill barely noticed. Everyone was too busy riding the high of the win. Their first real date happened 2 weeks after the reassignment. No more hiding. Alex picked her up at her Brooklyn apartment in a sleek black car, dressed in dark jeans and a fitted sweater that made him look less like a CEO and more like the guy from the gala, relaxed, approachable. They went to a quiet Italian spot in the West Village, candlelit tables, no paparazzi vibe. When the waiter brought their wine, Alex raised his glass. "To new chapters," he said. Emma clinked hers against it, smiling. "And to not kissing strangers in ballrooms anymore." He laughed. "Unless it's me." The conversation flowed effortlessly. Stories from childhood, his in Austin, hers in upstate New York, favorite travel spots, the ridiculous things that had happened during the campaign pitch. No work talk. Just them. After dinner, they walked along the Hudson, the river reflecting the city lights. He slipped his hand into hers, warm and sure. When they stopped at a railing overlooking the water, he turned to her. "I've been thinking," he said, "about what happens next." Emma's heart gave a little jump. "Yeah. I want this to be real. Not just dates here and there. I want weekends, trips, meeting friends. The whole thing." She looked up at him, the wind tugging at her hair. "I want that too. But, are we moving too fast?" "Maybe. But after everything, the gala, the tension, the waiting, I don't want to waste time pretending we're casual." He brushed his thumb across her cheek. "You make me better, Emma. At work, at life. I'm not letting that go." She rose on her toes and kissed him, slow and sweet, the city humming around them. When they pulled apart, she whispered, "Then let's do this. All in." The next few months felt like the best kind of whirlwind. They kept it low-key at first, no PDA in the office, but they didn't hide either. Coffee runs together. Lunch breaks in Bryant Park. A weekend trip to the Berkshires where they hiked, cooked terrible pancakes, and talked about everything from future campaigns to future plans. One Tuesday in late April, Emma arrived at her desk to find a small vase of peonies, soft pink, her favorite. No card, but she knew. She glanced across the open floor to Alex's office. He was on a call, but he caught her eye and gave the tiniest nod, a private smile that made her stomach flutter. The team noticed eventually. Lena cornered her in the kitchen one afternoon. "Okay, spill," Lena said, arms crossed. "You and the hot CEO. How long?" Emma laughed, cheeks pink. "Since after the pitch. We're careful. Official. It's good." Lena squealed and hugged her. "I knew it." That gala kiss was just the preview. Word spread quietly. No scandals. No HR complaints. Just two people who'd found something real in the chaos of New York ambition. By summer, they were inseparable in the best way. A 4th of July weekend in the Hamptons, fireworks over the beach, his arm around her as they watched the sky explode. A quiet dinner at his place in Chelsea, where he cooked steak and she teased him about his terrible playlist. One evening in early July, they sat on his rooftop terrace, the same one where they'd first confessed months ago. The city sparkled below, alive and endless. Alex pulled something small from his pocket. A velvet box. Emma's breath caught. "I'm not proposing," he said quickly, reading her face. "Not yet. But I want you to know where this is going." He opened the box. Inside was a delicate necklace, a thin gold chain with a tiny compass pendant. "So you always find your way back," he said softly. "To me. To us." Tears blurred her vision as she touched it. "Alex." He fastened it around her neck, fingers lingering on her skin. "I love you, Emma. I think I have since that ridiculous kiss in the ballroom." She laughed through tears. "I love you too." They kissed under the summer sky. No rush, no fear. Just certainty. Months later, the Elysian campaign won multiple awards. Clio, Effie, even a Cannes Lion. At the awards gala, they walked the red carpet together, hand in hand, no longer hiding. The photos went viral in industry circles. The power couple who turned a revenge kiss into something lasting. And somewhere in Brooklyn, Mark saw the pictures. He scrolled past quickly, a flicker of regret in his eyes. But Emma didn't know. She didn't care. She'd found her way forward, straight into the arms of the man who'd once been a stranger, and now was everything. By the fall of 2025, Emma and Alex had settled into a rhythm that felt both thrilling and wonderfully ordinary. They'd moved in together the previous spring, his Chelsea apartment traded for a light-filled loft in Dumbo, Brooklyn, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Manhattan Bridge. The place smelled like fresh coffee in the mornings and her favorite vanilla candle at night. It was theirs. The Elysian Escapes campaign had become industry legend. Follow-up seasons rolled out, Winter Escapes in Iceland, Spring Cherry Blossoms in Japan, and Apex Marketing's name was now synonymous with emotional, authentic storytelling. Emma had been promoted to head of creative strategy. Alex remained CEO but had quietly started mentoring a new generation of talent, stepping back just enough to let others shine. They still worked together, still challenged each other, still stole glances across conference rooms. But now the glances came with the comfort of knowing they'd go home to the same bed. One crisp October Saturday, Alex suggested a spontaneous day trip upstate. Emma laughed. He was terrible at being spontaneous, but she packed a sweater and trusted him anyway. They drove north in his old Jeep, windows down, singing off-key to a playlist of 90s alt-rock. He took the exit toward the Hudson Valley, winding through orchards heavy with apples and leaves turning gold and crimson. They ended up at a small vineyard overlooking the river. The tasting room was quiet, only a handful of other visitors. The owner, an older woman with a warm smile, greeted them like old friends. "Reservation for Hale?" she asked. Emma raised an eyebrow at Alex. "You made a reservation?" He just grinned. "Maybe." They tasted reds and whites, laughing over descriptions that sounded ridiculous, notes of wet stone and longing. When the last glass was poured, the owner gestured toward a private patio at the back. "Special view today," she said with a knowing look. They stepped outside. A small wooden table had been set with candles, 2 flutes of sparkling wine, and a single white rose. The sun was dipping low, painting the river in shades of amber and rose. Emma turned to Alex. "Okay, what's going on?" He took both her hands. His were steady, warm. "I've been thinking about that night at the plaza," he began. "The kiss that started everything. I was just a stranger who said yes to a crazy request. And somehow, here we are." She smiled, heart already racing. "Here we are. I almost didn't say yes that night," he continued. "I saw you walking toward me, beautiful, furious, determined, and I thought, this woman is trouble. And I was right. The best kind of trouble." Emma laughed softly. "Flatterer. I'm serious." His thumb brushed over her knuckles. "You changed everything for me. You made me want more than just the next deal, the next win. You made me want a life. With someone. With you." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. This time, there was no qualifier. "No, not yet." He dropped to one knee. "Emma Thompson," he said, voice thick with emotion, "will you marry me?" Inside the box was a solitaire diamond, simple, elegant, catching every bit of the dying light. She stared at it, then at him, tears already spilling. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, laughing through tears. "Yes. 1,000 times yes." He slipped the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. Then he stood, pulled her into his arms, and kissed her the way he had that first night. Deep, certain, full of promise. The vineyard owner appeared with a camera, discreetly capturing the moment. Later, they'd have those photos framed. The golden hour, the river, the ring, the joy. Back in the city that evening, they called their families, then their closest friends. Lena screamed so loud through the phone Emma had to hold it away from her ear. The team at Apex found out on Monday. Alex walked into the morning stand-up, Emma beside him, and simply said, "We're getting married." The room erupted. Confetti cannons, someone had clearly been prepared, hugs, champagne from the fridge. It felt like the pitch win all over again, only better. The wedding was planned for the following summer. Small, intimate, on a rooftop in Brooklyn with a bridge as backdrop. No Hamptons venue, no over-the-top production. Just the people who mattered, good food, great music, and the two of them promising forever. On their wedding day, July 2026, Emma walked toward Alex in a simple ivory gown, hair loose, compass necklace glinting at her throat. He wore a navy suit, the same shade as the tux from the gala, and when he saw her, his eyes shone with tears he didn't bother hiding. They said their vows under string lights as the sun set. Simple words. Honest ones. "I promise to choose you every day," Alex said. "Even on the hard ones. Especially on the hard ones." "I promise to keep surprising you," Emma replied, smiling. "And to never let us forget how this started, with one reckless kiss in a crowded room." They kissed as husband and wife to cheers and applause, the city skyline glittering behind them. Later, during the first dance, Alex pulled her close and murmured against her ear, "Still think I'm trouble?" She looked up at him, eyes sparkling. The very best kind. And as they swayed under the lights, surrounded by love and laughter, Emma realized the truth she'd been chasing since that devastating night 2 years earlier. Sometimes the worst heartbreak is just the universe clearing space for something infinitely better. She'd been cheated on. She'd kissed a stranger. She'd fallen in love with her boss. And now, she was married to the man who'd turned one moment of revenge into a lifetime of joy.